This video isn't an easy video to make, and I imagine for some of you it won't be an easy video to watch, but the information on this subject seems to be lacking on the internet, and so I think it does merit to exist. Normally when you make a video for YouTube, the idea is you want as many people as possible to see it, and in this case I wish as fewer people as possible need to see it. In this video we are going to discuss one of the most unpleasant things which can happen when you're either living or visiting France, and that is the death of a family member. I would guess that if you're watching this video it's because you've recently suffered a bereavement and you're struggling to find the necessary information. My hope for you is that the person in question died peacefully in their sleep from old age, but as we all know, that's not always the case. It's never an easy thing to get through, but hopefully this video will make things slightly easier for you. The first thing you need to know is that in France, things go very fast. Between the day of passing and the actual final ceremony, we're talking days, not weeks. So you have to be ready to move very fast. So to start with, what you need to do within the first 24 hours, you need to obtain a certificate de décès from either a doctor, the hospital or emergency staff. You then need to go to your local mairie where the actual passing happened and do a déclaration de décès. Obviously this needs to be done during the mairie's opening hours, so obviously not Sundays or bank holidays. You will find in the country communes the mayor is usually called out when there is actually a death in the commune, so he will already be on the ball for you and getting that ready. Within the following 48 hours, if you haven't already done so due to it being Sunday or bank holiday or whatever, definitely contact the mairie to sort out the paperwork. You also need to verify if there is a funeral insurance policy. If so, you need to contact them. You also need to choose a funeral parlour. The local mairie or hospital can actually supply you with a list of the local ones. You need to contact one of these and they will give you a quote for the service, which you will need to agree before moving forward. Under French law, a private or public mortuary will look after the actual body of the deceased for 3 days free of charge while you get your things sorted out and ready to move forward. You will need to decide as well, if it's not already done, whether you wish to repatriate the body back to the home country or their wish was to stay in France. If their choice was to stay in France, you will now need to decide whether you want to go for a crematorium or a funeral, and to contact either the mairie or the crematorium depending on your choice. Don't forget as well though that you will need to contact all the family members as soon as possible, because normally speaking the service will be no later than 7 days afterwards. Especially if you have family abroad, they need to organise travel and accommodation, etc. So you need to contact them as soon as possible. If you do wish for a religious service, you also need to contact your local priest. And obviously that depends on your religion who you contact. If on the other hand your choice is to repatriate the body back to the home country, then it's a bit more complicated and requires more paperwork. To start with, you'll need to request a certificate saying the body does not have any contagious disease or epidemic diseases. Also, the actual coffin will have to be hermetically sealed and certified by the prefecture. A road map will have to be calculated so they can work out all the communes that the actual cortege will be crossing between the place of death and where it's going, and each commune will have to be contacted to actually agree to the passage of the body. This sounds like quite a major endeavour, but don't worry, it's quite common in France and all the mairies are used to it. There's some system set up amongst them for getting it done quickly. If there is aerial transport planned, you'll need to contact the aviation company to make sure they don't have any special rules as well. But don't panic too much. Pretty well any funeral parlour will be used to dealing with these sorts of things and actually hold your hand all the way through and streamline all these necessary certificates and bits of paper. Saying that though, it might be worth getting someone who can translate for you if you don't speak good enough French. Please note that if the person lived in France and they had a local bank account, that bank can release up to 5,000 euros in funds, obviously if they're on the account to start with, without having to go through any procedures. Those funds are purely used for the funeral services though. Once the ceremony has finished, there are still some things to be sorted out. Basically, any debitors or creditors of the person, i.e. debitors might be the local electricity board, tax office, etc, etc. Creditors might be the CAF, it might be a pension office as such, anything paying money into them. So once again, you need to contact those people. And last but far from least, if the defunct person actually had property in France, you will need to contact their notary so he can actually move forward on the inheritance. You need to understand that although any bank accounts, cars, furniture, etc. can be under the will of whatever country the person comes from, any property owned in France will come under French law. If they have set up a will already in France, a notary will know about it. Obviously you need to contact their notary, and then that can be moved forward. Otherwise it will just go through the normal structure. Please understand this is based on my personal experience, and so applies to either practicing or non-practicing Christians. For other religions and countries, it's probably best to contact your consulate in France. So there you have it. I hope this helps you in your time of need.